Yo guys, welcome back, it is Ripe again, back with episode 45 of our Reddit series. Today we will cover r/EMT stories, aka Tales from the Ambulance. So now all you gotta do is sit back, relax, and let's see if we can find some Karens in the ambulance. The first story was posted by PlayDeadDog. A little bit of background. I'm a 16-year-old teen from Israel who has their own medical emergency ambulances who are called Mother. Now to the story. I was called by a paramedic for a call when he told me it was some idiot who left his baby in his car for 4.5 hours while he is home and someone who walked nearby saw it. Already hearing the story was making me mad. So we reached the destination after 6 or 7 minutes approximately, and we either needed to break the window or just call the owner. The paramedic decided to break the window and he will take care of the baby with another guy while I informed the parent about the baby. After about a minute or two, he opens the door and the ambulance is preparing to leave. Parent:
What? What do you want?
Me: Sir, your baby was in your car breathless. We are taking him to an hospital. Parent:
He's fine. Who let you decide to take him? You're kidnapping my baby.
The parent began shouting so loudly at me, I could not even manage to answer or calm the parent down. Luckily, an officer on patrol stopped by and talked to the parent after he heard the loud shouts. This is no good ending story, and the baby, we were informed later, had already died. The parents got arrested for several years and then public service. That was the second time I have been on an ambulance and it was hard for me seeing a lifeless body of a baby. I am still in Mother. When there are calls like these, the call manager and paramedic tell me to not go because of this trauma. Jesus, alright, that's already a very dark start to our EMT stories, but you wanted them, so let's continue. Facepalm, posted by InChristo76. I was a paramedic/FF for about 10 years. In the Midwest, pretty good sized department. The population was over 100,000. So I get a call on a warm sunny day and it was a 26-year-old female complaining of chest pain and has difficulty breathing. The address is literally 2 blocks away from the emergency room doors. So I get to the address and the door is standing open. Lower apartment, newly renovated. I walk in. No furniture, no chairs, tables or pictures. There is a 65-inch high-definition flat screen on the floor with piles of video games and a brand new PlayStation. 2 kids attached, probably age 8 to 10. I look down the hall and a woman is sitting on the edge of her bed waving us down. So I walk into the room and there is so much furniture that there's almost no place to walk. In the corner, laying back in a recliner, is the boyfriend watching his own big screen. Clothes everywhere and probably about 75 shoeboxes. I asked the woman if she was the one who needed help and she promptly said yes. I asked what the problem was and she says in a panicked voice,
My mouth is dry.
Okay, did you tell 911 that you had chest pain and difficulty breathing? I asked. She nodded yes. So do you have those problems now? She says,
Nope.
Did you call for an ambulance because you got a dry mouth?
Yes.
Did you try drinking water?
Yeah, but it's still dry.
She then says the magic words,
I wanna go to the hospital.
And now we have to take her. Give me her med list, all narcotics, oxy, hydro, you name it. Many give you a dry mouth as a side effect. She then tells us that she's too weak to walk because of her dry mouth and she wants us to carry all 275 pounds of her out to the ambulance. Oh no, homie, don't play that. As we are walking out the room to transport this 26-year-old female addict 2 blocks to the ER by ambulance, the boyfriend pipes up.
Hey baby, I will bring the car over in a few minutes when my show is done.
You know what?
I wanna go to the hospital.
Strangely reminds me of. Sounds similar to
I wanna speak to the manager.
This was posted by Shiseido Red. My mom is a paramedic and dinner conversations are usually interesting. She had one partner that just seemed to attract all the crazy calls and we will call him Pat. Both of these happened while she was riding with him. They get a call for a woman in labor, not quite full term, but close. When they get there, she's already spread out, saying she has to push. They never even had a chance to get her on a stretcher. Delivering babies isn't that unusual for paramedics, but this did not go as planned. After 5 or so minutes of straining and groaning and pushing with my mom at her head and her partner on the business end, they had a successful delivery of an approximately 10-pound turd right into Pat's hands. Seems she had been constipated for ages and not done anything about it. When the time finally came, she mistook the stomach cramps for labor. Another day, another call. They end up in the project with an overweight woman complaining of chest pains. Usually, when there's a chest pain call, the patient is not up and walking around and cussing at everyone/everything inside. This woman was doing all of the above shirtless. She kept loudly repeating that her chest hurt while my mom and Pat asked her to let them take her vitals and to explain where the pain was. Eventually, the woman had enough of them not understanding her and walked up to Pat. She screamed,
I said my chest hurts.
Picked up her huge saggy breasts and flopped them into Pat's hands. She was not having heart pains, she was having literal chest pains. Poor Pat. Next one. To be a paramedic, you need a strong stomach. My mom is a supervisor now and is the one that mostly decides when they need more than one unit on a scene or if they need to call out the other company in town for backup. We are in AL and the temperatures are already obnoxious. All of this is relevant. About 2 weeks ago, she got a call for stomach problems in a trailer park. When they got to the scene, there were nearly 100 people laid out in the yard, vomiting and having diarrhea everywhere. There had been a Hispanic family having a reunion and someone made something with mayonnaise in it and left it out all day in the heat. Everybody ate it and thus suffered the consequences of Alabama heat plus mayonnaise. My mom actually had to get every unit at her company and call the other company in town for backup to transport everyone to the hospital. They transported 5 or 6 per unit on the benches in the park, and then all of the trucks had to be washed out. My mom said she took 2 or 3 showers and still felt filthy. Okay, what the F. My ex-girlfriend had a friend who was a nurse at a local hospital. One day, ex-GF suggests we go to the hospital to visit her friend. Knowing that this particular hospital has absolutely stunning French fries available in their cafeteria for bargain basement prices, I agree. Upon arrival, we meet nurse friend who looks a little upset. I purchase my delicious fries, we sit down, and my ex-girlfriend asks the nurse friend why she looks unhappy. The NF relays the following story. A woman had recently needed surgery to remove her appendix. They had sewn her back up and sent her on her merry way. A few days later, she was back complaining that her stitches had opened up. NF suggests to my ex-girlfriend and I that this is not unusual given that the patient was overweight. Current French fry consumption ability above par. All systems go for increased cholesterol. The doctor had sewn her back up and once again the patient departed. The next day she came back and her stitches had opened up again. Odd, but still not unexplainable. NF suggests to the patient that she avoid any unnecessary activity. They sew her up again and she leaves. Current French fry consumption ability average. Warily chewing while waiting for multiple shoes to drop. That day, prior to our arrival, this woman had come back in. Same issue. The stitches have pulled themselves out again. As this is the 4th time she has to be sewn up, the doctors say, "Look, you're doing something wrong here. What are you doing? Are you pulling these out on purpose?" The patient gets super defensive. The doctor knows something is up. Then the patient starts to cry. They will not let her leave until she tells them what is happening. And at this point, they bring in NF, who is pretty much a 22-year-old Mother Teresa. She is exactly the type of person whom I would want as a nurse. She can coax anything out of anyone. Ready for this? NF/22-year-old MT manages to get this patient to admit that it is not in fact her whom is pulling the stitches out, but her fiancé. This complete sociopath has convinced the patient to allow him to penetrate her, sexually, through the hole in her belly where the doctor had removed her appendix. Apparently, this was not a painful event for the patient, even though some crazy guy was railing her in the guts. They made her promise not to have the stitches removed again prior to sending her out. Current french fry consumption ability: the plane has crashed into the mountain. We are done here. From what I gather, they did not have to re-stitch her again. Okay, that's actually a seriously messed up story. Let's continue to the next one. Crazy slutty granddaughter. Posted by Trackslayer. Hi, I'm an EMT in the Boston area and I just wanted to share this experience with you because it's kind of funny / weird / sad. So it starts as a typical 911 call and an elderly female fell and there is the possibility that it's a head wound. We arrive on the scene to find fire is already there and inside, so we proceed right in. The old woman lives alone and fell, hit her head and cut it in the process and passed out. She had woken up, found her head was bleeding and crawled to a phone to call her granddaughter for help. It was the granddaughter who called 911. The base of her walls looked like a horror movie and her fingers leaving bloody streaks down the hall where she had crawled. By the way, PT lived and made it home fine, so the scene was not great. We find the grandmother and start care, standard stuff. However, the granddaughter is there too, and she is just flirty as hell and not subtle about it. She was hiking up her dress past her lower extremities and towards her lower abdomen. Also, she was not wearing any underwear. Also, the granddaughter was in her late 20s. I did my best to ignore her, but she was right there in my face. She was flashing myself, my partner, and the other 3 firemen, while her grandmother was being backboarded and collared, bleeding right in front of her. Just weird. Yep, just weird, that's exactly what I would call the story. So let's better continue to the next one. This one was posted by DegenX80 and is called Funny Patient Encounters. So I have been a firefighter since 2009 and an EMT since 2010 and upgraded to medic in 2013. I have had some pretty funny experiences, but there was something about a call from yesterday that just had me in stitches. I remained professional, barely, but my EMT and I just exchanged what the F looks and laughed about it for the rest of the shift. So I made contact with the patient and his family. The patient had a history of seizures and was currently very postictal. I was getting some history from the patient's family, who gave me a list of meds that the patient was on. They then told me that the doctor had just switched his meds, so the new one wouldn't be on the list. When I asked what the new med is, the family member stated that the patient was just starting on peanut butter balls. Me, with a quizzical look, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Peanut butter balls. He just started peanut butter balls.
What the hell? So I asked for the bottle and the patient was on phenobarbital. I remained professional with the patient's family, aside from the confused look to my mutually confused partner. However, the second I was free, I think I laughed until I peed a little. Anyone else ever had this or similar? I think I'm pronouncing the word phenobarbital or whatever it's called a little bit wrong, because I think if you pronounce it correctly, it might somehow sound like peanut butter balls. Anyway, let's continue to the next one. Entitled patient tells mom we treated him like a mop after we squeezed him in for an appointment despite being an hour late. Alright, so just a warning, this may be long. I recently discovered the subreddit and realized that I have a story of my own of a very entitled man who was a patient at my old job, an optometrist office. Some backstory, I was probably around 20 to 21 at the time and I was an exam technician but also helped out as a receptionist up front. Because our bosses are super cheap. Customer service is top priority, so my boss usually lets patients get whatever they want to get them to shut up unless it involves money. It was a Thursday and I had the unfortunate luck of answering the call of entitled patient EP, and he said he was in a car accident and his glasses had broken, so he wanted new ones for free. I passed him off to my office manager, who informed him his prescription was expired and his last visit was 3 years prior, so even if we could give him a new pair for free, which we were not because that would come out of the office's pocket, and car accidents are not under warranty, and his prescription was invalid. The EP gets very upset and threatens to sue us if we don't give him a written statement saying that his glasses were broken in the car accident this time. So he's passed to my general manager and she explains that is not possible because we were not there to witness the event, so he hangs up and his lawyer, a paralegal, calls us, and he is actually very chill and tells us everything is fine and he understands how EP can be. I thought that was the end of it, but about 2 weeks later he comes in demanding to be seen for an eye exam on the spot. We inform him it's only by appointments and we are full for the day, but he keeps making a scene, so the office manager agrees to squeeze him in at 1 PM. Big mistake. He shows up an hour late and I tell him, sorry, we cannot see you, you're an hour late and we have other patients waiting. Of course, he gets enraged, saying we are wasting his time and how we have terrible customer service, so my office manager intervenes, saying, just squeeze him in. So we did. He orders his glasses and all of us are just happy he's gone. Then the day comes for him to pick up his glasses and most of the employees recognize him/his name, so when he comes in, we all hide except for one employee. I will call her UE, unfortunate employee. This employee had just come back from pregnancy leave, so she grabs the glasses for him to try on. He tries them on and starts yelling about how he does not like them and complaining. From what I recall, this is how the last part of the conversation went down. EP,
I know you're the one who helped me with the glasses, and these are terrible. I don't want them, I want a refund.
UE, sorry sir, but you're mistaken. I've never even met you before. EP,
so you're saying the customer is wrong? The customer is never wrong.
UE, let me go get the manager. She was not about to deal with him, so again, the office manager talks to him and he agrees to take the glasses and all of us let out a sigh of relief, thankful to be done with him. Or so we thought. The next day I answer a call and before I can even say anything, a lady is screaming at me and I cannot even post a conversation because there wasn't one. I couldn't get a word in. She kept screaming,
your office is terrible. You guys treated my son like a mob.
Did I mention the dude is only 19?
How dare you? I know the owner of the business and I'm gonna talk to him and have you all fired.
I was finally able to respond, let me transfer you to the general manager, who also happens to be the daughter of the owner. She replies,
don't you dare put me on hold. I refuse.
So I put her on hold. She hangs up and calls again. I answer to hear the same screaming, so I put her on hold again, so my general manager takes it. Entitled mom,
you have no idea how to run a business. Your employees treated my son like dirt. I'm gonna sue your office and I will be speaking to the owner.
General manager, well, just so you know, the owner is my father and he happens to be in the office today, so I will gladly pass you to him.
Don't you dare put me on hold. I want to speak to the owner now.
GM puts her on hold and of course she hangs up and calls again. The owner answers and again she's screaming at him and he's not like my managers, he takes zero BS from anyone, so he tells her, listen ma'am, if your son's unhappy with the glasses, return them tomorrow. I will have a check for a refund here for you and we will call the insurance to reinstate your benefits, but you're never allowed to come back to our office again. So she agreed. The following day was my day off, so this is what my co-workers told me. It's around 1 PM when EP and EM walk in and they give us the glasses and they are given a check and asked to sign an agreement stating they are getting refunded and are banned from our office, but EM goes ballistic and again screaming,
you treated my son like a mob. I want a personal apology from the owner for all the suffering this office has caused us.
The office manager tells them they need to leave or we will call the cops. Our GM is close with the sheriff and EM and now EP are screaming, causing a scene in front of the patients, so the sheriff is called and shows up within 5 minutes and the situation is explained, and he has both of them sign the agreement and tells them if they ever step foot on the property they would be arrested. That's the end of it, right? Nope. The next week we get a call, and again I'm the one who happens to answer it, and it's the insurance company calling to inform us that EP was going to sue us, so they were trying to find a compromise we can reach so it doesn't go to court. I let my GM know, and she talks to the insurance rep and informs her about everything and even sends her an email with a copy of every note on the patient's file all the way back to his first call regarding his broken glasses. We have a policy where we have to write notes anytime a patient complains or any sort of incident, no matter how small, happens. After the insurance rep is informed, she assures that she will take care of it and inform him that he cannot sue and he can never come back to our office. I have not seen him since, but all of my old co-workers and even I still shudder when we hear his name. I still cannot believe that someone so young could behave so vile, but after that lovely conversation with his mom, I definitely understand now. Alright guys, that was all the content for today. As I said before, if you know any place on the internet where I can find more EMT stories, then please tell me or post it on our subreddit, which is r/ripestories on Reddit. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and don't forget to leave a like, because lately the algorithm is acting up again, so I would appreciate your support as usual. So I hope you have a great day, and I see you tomorrow.